Hi everyone, it's Kelly from Kellie's Bead Boutique. So I've been making and teaching how to make jewelry for a very long time now. And one of the things that I hear all the time is, you make it look so easy. Well, that's because I think it is. So I'm going to take some simple parts and some simple techniques, and I'm going to teach you how to make your very own jewelry. So if you want to see what I'm making today, come and join me. All right, so this is the second installment in my new Refresh and Remake series. And I want to thank Heidi for coming up with that really great name. I really appreciate all the comments I get on my videos where you guys help me out with naming things. So this bracelet originally came out over 3 years ago, and I think I have about 131,000 views on it so far. And it has been so popular that the colors sold out immediately. Like, I think those first ones were sold out within about 6 months, and we could not replace the same colors that I had in the video. So we sort of came up with some colors that sort of worked with it, but they were never quite the colors that I really loved and had originally used in the video. So for a couple of years now, I've been meaning to refilm this, and I just never got around to it. And now with this new Refresh and Remake series that I'm doing, I'm just simply repeating my video, but I'm giving you a little intro here with the new colors and things like that. Tips that I maybe forgot in the first one, that sort of thing. So I've come up with 3 beautiful colorways. At least I think they're beautiful in this new one. This is this gorgeous seafoam green. And the difference in this one to the first ones is that these ones are going to come as is. Like, you're going to get this color with this color with this color. We used to have it so that you could pick everything, but it gets really hard for inventory. So this one will come with this beautiful seafoam color. Let me just move the other ones out so that you can see the colors better. So this will have that gorgeous seafoam color, and it's got the beautiful Picasso finish on the side, and it's going to have the antique bronze, and then this sort of coconut brown, and then the antique bronze in the back. And I think this one's going to be probably the most popular one because everybody seems to really gravitate to that color. The other one that I've got, and this one, I'm not a purple person at all, but this one really spoke to me. So it's a purple and blue combo. I think it's actually called Great Picasso. And you can see that some of it's got like sort of a transparency to it, and then other sides of it have a bit more of an opacity to it. So some looks a little blue and some looks a little bit purple. So I mixed it with this gorgeous midnight blue faux suede that we have. This is our vegan suede, so if you are somebody that doesn't like the animal products, then this is the perfect one for you. But it just pairs up so nicely, and this one will come with the antique silver accents. And then this one is similar to the first one that I did in that it's sort of a pinky tone. This one is I think it's just literally called Pink Picasso, and it's really a gorgeous color. And I've mixed it with the antique silver and with the black on the vegan suede. So one of the things that I neglected to do in the first one, and I think I had finished filming it, and then I went, oh no, I forgot to show everybody to do that. So what I've done, let me again move some of this stuff out of the way. One of the things that I've neglected to say is if you have a really tiny wrist, all 5 of these might be too much because I think that ends up at about almost 3 inches there. So if you have a tiny wrist, you may want to go down to only 3 beads, or you could even do 4 beads, but I think odd numbers look better. So, you just kind of have to play around with it. But like this almost covers the entire top of my wrist, and I have a fairly large wrist. So you may want to adjust for that. The other thing is that when you are creating this, you're going to have your piece look sort of, I'll bend it back. It's going to look just like that. It's going to be flat. And when it sits on top of your wrist, it makes those rings there sort of stick out. And I don't like that look. So what I've neglected to say in the first one is that I take it and I hold it like this so that I can see my loops. And then I just put a gentle curve in it, just a little bit, because our wrists actually have a curve in it. So you see how that sits now like that. And when I put it on, it just sits so much better. So make sure that you add that, just that little extra touch and I think that will make it for a little bit better wearing. So there you go. There's 3 brand new colors. So I'm going to run the original video now so you can have a little bit of a refresher. And again, thanks so much, Heidi, for coming up with a really great name. So I will continue to add some more things along the way in our new refresh and remake series. So I hope you enjoy this one. Thanks for joining me today. So let's get started. So today I'm going to be using some 20 gauge craft wire, and I just like to use something that's nice and soft. I also have 12 inches of about a 3 millimeter. This is sort of like a fake suede. I don't think it's real suede. And I have 5 little Czech glass rondelles. Now we will have this available in kit form, and it'll be listed below in the description box. And I'm going to have 3 different colors that you'll be able to use and 2 different metals. So this one is going to be this really pretty sort of mottled brown and beige Czech glass. I also have a bunch of Tierra cast findings here, and this is one of their beautiful toggles. I have a little charm, 2 little small rings, and these little crimp pins, and then I have an assortment of jump rings. And as far as tools, I'm just going to be using a pair of scissors, some chain nose pliers, some bent chain nose pliers, and some round nose pliers. And I have a link to all of my tools, a little video that I did on them, so I'll put that below. So let's get started here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my suede and find the halfway point and just give that a little trim. And see, for once I actually did bring a pair of scissors. I never remember them, so I was thinking this time. Okay, so again, now I'm going to take that and put that in half. And I just sort of fold it like that. It doesn't have to be exact. And now I'm going to find the side that I want to use, because these are double-sided, so you can have them mismatched if you want, but I kind of like that side, so that's the side that I want up. Now I'm going to go down through my loop, pop that through there, create like a little loop on the other end, and now I'm going to take those tails and bring them through. So I'm just creating a lark's head knot. So I want to make sure that when I pull it tight, there we go, that it's laying nice and flat. I don't want anything twisted over there. So nice and easy. So I'll show you that again. So fold that in half, create a little loop, find the side that I want. Yeah, it's that one there. So now I'm going to go down through my loop, just create that little loop on the other side, bring that through the end, and then pull it tight. Now you'll see when you can go either way here. You can go that way and it looks like that, or you go that way and it's got that little loop on the top. And that's the side that I like. I think it looks like a nice little decorative feature. So when I've got this together, I want to have those both on the top like that. So it's your design. You can have it upside down if you want, but for me, I like them that way. Okay, so now I'm going to cut myself about 7 inches or so of 20 gauge wire. So now I'm going to come about 1.5 inches down, and I'm going to put it between my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to give it a little bend away. And now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and turn them this way, and I'm going to go about 3/4 of the way up, because I do want a fairly healthy loop on there. So I'm going to go up about here, and that'll help create a nice big loop. So now I'm going to go up and over and straight down, rotate my plier, and then I'm going to bring that right straight to the back. And now you can see it's kind of offset there. So what I do is just rotate it with my hand just to bring that up so that it creates a bit more of a lollipop look. So now I want to come in and go down through the loop, and I just take my fingernail and kind of open that up a little bit, and then that'll pop in there really nicely. So now I'm going to go across that loop with my chain nose pliers, and I get a good grip on that, and I'm just going to use my fingers. I have a bit more control with my fingers, and I'm going to do a bit of a messy wrap. So I'm just going to go around once, twice, and now I'm going to start working back towards my loop there. And of course mine never end up messy, but it just gives it a little bit of a bulkier look, which is what I'm going for. So I've gone around twice, so now I'm going to come in with the flush side of my cutters and give that a little trim, and always cover that over so that it doesn't go flying off. And then if you have a little burr, which we probably do, we're just going to take our chain nose pliers and give that just a little push, because you do want to make sure that that's not poking out. Okay, so now we have our little wrap on there. So now I'm going to take my 5 rondelles and place those on. I really love this color. It's kind of a really pretty beige. It's really nice. Okay, So now I'm going to line that up on there. And now I want to have my second loop going the same way as my first one. So I want to make sure that when I do this step, I have my loop this way versus having it on the side like that. So have it this way. And I'm going to bend straight across those beads because I don't want to create a neck on here because I'm going to be doing that messier wrap sort of look. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to that same spot that I was up here quite a ways. And I go up and over and down, rotate my plier, bring that to the back, and then I'm going to readjust that a little bit. And now I'm going to take my next one here and I'm going to pop that through. And again, you probably have to just sort of separate that with your fingernail a bit, and then turn that over and then start to wrap. So I'm going to go around twice and then work my way back up towards that loop. And it just gives it a kind of a nice bulky look. And that's what we're kind of going for today. Give that a trim. And then come in and tuck in any burrs. And I usually just sort of feel them with my fingers. Now I just want to make sure that everything's going the right way and that it's all sort of sitting the way that I want it to. And if you have to, you can kind of adjust that a little bit. And there, that looks pretty good. So there's what we've got so far. So now you're going to have to figure out the length of what you want to create. So I've got the first one that I made here. This is it's a beautiful sort of raspberry color. Love it. So that one ended up a pretty good length. So what I've got here is from the end of this, I've got almost 2 inches of leather. So we can maybe go a little bit, because this is made for me and I've got a bit bigger wrist. So I'm going to cut this at about, from the very end, about 1.75 inches on either side. And that will make about a 7-inch bracelet. So if you have a smaller wrist than that, you're going to want to adjust accordingly. So I'm just going to line that up, and then I'm going to place that right there. And then I will find my mark, which is right there. No, yeah, we wanted 1.75 inches, right? So I just mark things with my fingernail. I'm not, super technical when it comes to the measuring part. So go like that and give it a trim. And then I'm going to turn it over. Put that there. Find my 1.75 inches, which is right there. Mark it with my thumbnail and give it a trim. And I get pretty lucky with my measuring, I guess, because I don't panic about it. I just do it. So it all seems to work out in the end. Okay, so now we're going to put these little cord ends on. Now, if you're afraid to crimp these, you can use glue, but I like the way that they look when they're crimped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack these on top of each other just to make it easier to get inside there. And then I'm going to pop them right over the edge there. So you see that they go in really nicely. Now what I do is I take them and sort of widen them out as much as I can so that they're laying about as flat as they can in there. So you see how it is a little bit overlapped on top there, but I've sort of widened it out there as much as I can. Now I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to come down and give it a squish. Now I don't want to squish up top here because that will damage the ends of these. But I can definitely squish down here, and I just go back and forth, and you can kind of go from all sides if you want and just kind of give it a good squish, and that is not going anywhere. And I love how that looks. I think it looks a really nice, it gives it a really nice finish. Okay, so again, I'm going to line those up on top of each other, put my end on, and then right before I crimp it, always make sure to sort of flatten it out. So all I'm doing is just sort of taking my thumbnail and I'm separating those two to kind of flatten it out a little bit. So, and you always want to make sure that the ends are nice and even before you go to this stage. So now I'm going to take my pliers and give it a good crimp, turn it over and crimp on both sides a couple times. Again, making sure you don't go towards the top. You can see how I'm missing that top part there. All right, look how nice that's looking. Okay, so now we're going to add all our little end pieces. So now I'm going to take one of my jump rings, and I always like to use the smallest, heaviest jump ring, and this one is an 18 gauge and about a 4.5 millimeter. So I take my pliers on one side and my bent chain nose on the other and give them a good twist. These are heavy duty, so they're hard to open and close. So I always want to use 2 pairs of good pliers. I'm going to pop that through the end there. And now I'm going to figure out which side of my toggle, because they're double-sided and I like that one. So I am going to get that through the hole there. And now I'm going to have to turn those over and come in and give that a good close. So you always want to make sure there's not a lot of room there, so I have to make sure I get in there. So sometimes you have to kind of boss this around a little bit, but if you sort of jiggle it back and forth, it'll get in there nice and tight. So on one end, the one with the loop, you can always just use 1 jump ring. But if you've watched my videos before, you will have noticed that I always use 3 jump rings when I'm finishing the other end. If you were just to use 1 jump ring, you're never going to get the end bar up through that loop, and that's where most people go wrong. They can't get their bracelet on, so they're pulling and pushing on it, and then something breaks. So you have to make sure that you are adding enough jump rings to give it that freedom to go up inside, and I'll show you what I mean once I get this last one on. So just do these up nice and tight, and they are hard to do. I've got really strong hands and I do struggle a little bit with them myself, so you just kind of have to show them who's boss. Okay, so get that last one on there and make sure to put in your toggle end. When I'm teaching classes, that's something that happens a lot. People put the last one on and forget to attach it to something. So I think I need to open that a bit more. All right, and give that, there we go. Get that in there nice and tight. So now when I go to do it up, it can actually go up inside nice and freely. You can see how if I didn't have those jump rings on, I would have to turn it at this point and I wouldn't be able to. So now it can go up inside and turn nicely. So if you're struggling with toggles, make sure that you are following that my little sort of trick there of putting 1 and 3, and you'll find that that really makes a difference, but it does add extra in between here, so you want to make sure you account for that when you're doing your measuring. So now I'm going to put on my little charm, and you will get all these pieces in your kits. You'll have the choice of which colors you want of the Czech glass, the metals, and of your leather. So that'll be linked in the description box below. So now I'm going to put my little charm on. Now the other thing that you want to make sure when you're putting your charms on is that you're going to put them on the end with the toggle round part, not this. I call this the working end. And if you put a little charm there, it's just going to get caught up in all the business of putting that through. So I always make sure that I put it through on this side. So, or this end I should say. So I'm just going to pop that in there, and I just find a little place for it to go. It'll fit nicely in there. And then I'm going to do this up nice and tight. All right, so there you go. There's our completed project. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from everybody. And if you haven't already subscribed, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and make sure to ring that little bell icon. I upload a new video pretty much every Monday at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and that little bell will notify you when my video has been posted. So once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Wow.